Hey YouTube, it's Mike Peng Gangster, and today I wanted to make a video on Pat of Exile, how to know when you hit basically the jackpot. How do you know when you hit something that's going to be worth a lot of money? Now, the reason why I'm making the video, because I'm actually a new player to Pat of Exile. I played a little bit of Pat of Exile 1, but not a lot at all. So I would say I'm a very, very new player when it comes to like end game part of like Pat of Exile. So when you get into Pat of Exile 2, there's a trading system for you to like basically buy your items and trade items that you get throughout your farming sessions, right? But a lot of people have no understanding of actually knowing when they actually hit something. Okay, now there's certain like third-party sites that you could use, for example, that give you like right away a price check or something like that. But at the end of the day, for people that don't want to use these type of things and just want to like know, for example, when they hit something. So this is what I've learned from this game. Everything that has some high-end stats on them have value, okay? Like everything could basically have value because from one player to another, everybody's searching for particular things. Now, for example, I play a monk, so I don't play other classes. So when it comes to like weapon, I don't know the other classes what I'm looking for, because this is where things get complex, because other builds could be looking for other type of damage on their weapon. For example, I know as a monk, because if you're playing a monk, most monks that are playing quarterstaff, for example, at least, they're looking for a quarterstaff that has high physical damage. So as you can see, mine has 292 to 501, okay? So how do you know when you have a good monk weapon? Well, that's the first insight. If you see an item with big physical damage, that's a good sign that the weapon could be worth something. This particular weapon, I paid 7 divines. Is it worth 7 divines? I don't know. It could be worth 1 divine. It could be worth 20 divines. At that time, when I needed the weapon, this was on the market for 7 divines, and I was willing to pay 7 divines for it because I needed it for my build. Now, this is where, again, things could be very, very different from one person to another, because not everybody's going to pay the same price as what you're willing to pay or what somebody else is willing to pay, because a lot of it is going to depend, for example, on what you're looking for. Simple as that. If you require a specific item or a specific stat that will make your build stronger, you're going to end up paying extra because you just want that particular stat, okay? So that's one thing that you have to understand. So when you see a quarterstaff, at least for people that want to know, like, how do you know if it's a good quarterstaff? If you see high physical damage on it, there's a good chance you want to look it up and see what are the other elements on it. For example, one thing that I look for when I'm building my monk, like for damage and everything, I like to have increased element damage to attacks, with attacks. And I also like to have, for example, like attack speed, which is a big damage booster. I would like to have, for example, like crit damage or critical hit chance, like extra chance. Like for example, the weapon has critical hit chance 10%, but you can actually roll even 13 or 14% if I'm correct. I'm not exactly sure. I'm pretty sure you can roll over 13% because there's a one of the affixes could be critical hit chance, which is like I think 3 point something percent or 4% the max, something. I'm not exactly sure. That's another thing for people that are wondering, like, how do you know when you're rolling the best stats? Well, you could check on the websites what are the best stats for like each tier. So I don't know if you guys watched the video where Elon Musk was saying, well, oh, this item is only level 56 or this item is only level 76 or whatever. he had a point, even if what he was saying was a bit like newbie in the category. What he was basically trying to say, like the higher the level of the item is, the better, the higher the stat could roll. For example, like the highest items that are dropping in the game right now, I think they're level 82s. So let's say we look at boots, for example. My boots are level 65. So the highest the highest increased movement speed on my boots for a level 65 required item is 30% from my understanding. If you want to roll for 35%, okay, you need to have level 82 boots. How do you get level 82 boots? Well, the only way you're gonna get them, if you want them, to drop, you gotta get them in mobs, like tier 15 plus. I think it's tier 17 if I'm exact, 17 or yeah, I think it's tier 17 or 18. I know people were like their map's only 15, but there's other things that make you go higher. You'll see that when you enter the room of the map, it tells you the level of the mob. So if the mob could be level 82, there's a chance that they could drop 82 level gear, which doesn't particularly mean just because you have a level 82 piece, it's going to be better than a level 65, but it has a potential to higher to roll higher stats on it, if that makes any sense. Like for example, like I said, 30% increased movement speed, and this one is the max, I think, for level 65. But if you have an 82 level boots, they could roll up to 35% increased movement speed, which is 5% more. I don't know how much of a difference that is for some people, but some people will pay a lot of money for that. But I don't think they will pay only for the movement speed, they'll pay for other stuff. So again, the video was to, how do you know when you have something? So oh my god, sorry about that, I have to drink something. So I know a few tricks, okay? One of the tricks I know, for example, any gear that you're looking for, if it has, for example, like let's say your chest piece or your helmet or whatever the case may be, whatever you're looking for, okay? If it has triple resist, you hit something good, okay? Even if the resists are not like all high ones, anything that has triple resist on it, gear-wise, like chest piece, gloves, boots, helmet, or whatever the case may be, if it has 3 resist on it, for example, the cold, fire, and lightning, or chaos, especially chaos, automatically go check on the website, the training website, you hit something. Because people need to get their resist, they need to get their resist higher, right? Like, so for example, if you look at my resist, I got 75 fire, 75 cold, 75 lightning, and almost 75 on the chaos. Okay, so a lot of people are looking to get the resist to the max out. So automatically, any piece of armor that you see that has triple resist on it, you hit something that's worth money for sure. Okay, it doesn't really matter what the other stuff are on it, as long as there's 3 resist, all three of them, you hit something. When it comes to rings, there's other ways of knowing if it's worth something. It's, for example, let's say you got 2 high resist, for example, like this ring, it's got 42% fire and 39 gold resist, but it also has 16 to all resist. So an item of this is something you should check to see if it's worth anything, right? Again, there's items, for example, that only have 1 resist, for example, like this one particular, my chest piece, but it has other elements of stuff that I need as a monk. For example, monks are playing invasion and energy build. So if you see a jacket with invasion, that's very high, and energy also that's very high, and then you see, for example, like spirit on it and chaos resistance, go look for on the market. It could be worth quite a bit. Now this one over here, I think it was worth like, I think it's worth something between 1 or maybe a couple of divines. Now again, these are not like super crazy. It's remember, I don't have like crazy gear right now because I don't have the money to buy crazy gear in this game right now. But this is a way of like when you're searching for things, what exactly are you looking for? Okay, so remember on gear, if you see triple resist, go ahead and look at it. If you see a quarterstaff with physical damage, go look on the market, because these are things that are going to be worth a lot. When it comes to rings, same principle. Like if you see stuff that have, for example, like high numbers, for example, like resist with the elemental resist to all elements, and for example, if you see stuff, for example, that give you like either like physical damage or cold damage, like it adds extra damage, go look it up. They are potential to be worth something. Again, every gear could be very, very different from one person to another. Again, I don't want to say too much because I don't want to like complicate things even more for people, because like, for example, I'm very new to the game myself, and I'm also still right now learning the process of understanding when I hit something. And like it's very, very hard to know when you really hit something until like you see perfect things, because there could be a lot of stuff, for example, like maybe this belt here may not be worth that much when you look at it, but maybe somebody is looking for a particular belt that has a lot of life, a lot of mana, it has an extra charm slot, maybe he needs strength in his build because he requires extra strength to put an item on or something, and he needs fire resist. He's going to be looking for this belt, right? And there may not be many on the market, so he may end up paying a little bit extra based on something most likely that is not worth that much, but for that moment, it could be worth actually something. So make sure that whenever you see affixes that are look nice on an item, and they have higher numbers, of course, with levels that are pretty high. For example, I mean, again, there's things that could be low level, like my rings are 56, but do I have anything that's low level? I think pretty much all my gear is pretty much, you know, pretty high level based on, but there's gear, I know there's gear, like you can get gear that's like level lower than this and still have crazy stats. So at the end of the day, what I'm trying to say is that look at the gear, double check the website when you see something that looks pretty good for you at least. I know it's going to be hard to understand what other classes really want, because if you're not playing the other classes, it's just hard to tell the difference between what you're looking for and what somebody else is looking for. But just remember, there's some common sense. For example, when it comes to like gear with resist, especially like what I said, when you see triple resist, automatically that's money, because everybody needs resist on their characters for any build. But also, for example, go look at the uniques that drop off certain mobs. There are specific uniques that could be worth a lot of money. And also another thing, currency. I think currency is probably the best thing to farm. I think currency is what actually makes you the most money in this game. I know gear, you could hit the jackpot and sometimes get something that's really crazy that's worth like maybe 100 divine or something. But I think farming and getting currency is the number one way of actually making a lot of money in this game, of course, because gear is very hard to determine sometimes when you actually hit something that's worth a lot, because again, we don't know all the stats that everybody's looking for. But I can tell you one thing, that everybody is looking for something. So you may hit something and you don't even know that it's actually worth a lot of currency. So make sure you always double check whenever you look at something that looks kind of good. You know what I mean? So hopefully you enjoyed this video. Hopefully I helped out somebody a little bit, because look, I'm as confused as everybody when it comes to like, oh, did I hit something? Did I not? Every time I check, it's like one exalt. It's always shit stuff. But I do get things that are actually worth sometimes. I got a few items that were worth like 1 divine. Maybe I think I sold one thing that was 3 divine. I've sold stuff also for like, you know, 5 exalt, 10 exalt. At the end of the day, it's always extra currency, and it gives you the potential to be able to buy your stuff. For example, like I was able to buy my weapon for 7 divine. But is my weapon, like I said at the beginning of the video, is it worth 7 divine? Probably not. Probably it's worth 2 divine. Maybe it is worth 15 divines. Who knows? At that moment, it was worth 7 divine because I was willing to pay 7 divines for it. So hopefully you guys enjoyed the video, and I wish you a good one. Have a good day, guys. Bye-bye.